UIC Halstead is next. Doors open on the left at UIC Halstead.
Today on Map Left Behind, we have Bella Lister. She's a senior and majoring in marketing. I'm your host, Mel Diaz. And her roadmap is about the modern day Div 1 athlete. I'm actually so excited to have this conversation just because it's a topic that is so out there right now and constantly in the news. So I'm really interested to dig in and have this piece. So Bella, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited.
All right. I had the good fortune of having you in class in the fall, so I got to know a little bit about you. And let's start with something really simple. So a little bit of a unique upbringing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us a little bit about that first.
Yeah, so I was born in North Carolina, and my mom passed away when I was really little, so I got adopted by my aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up moving over to Ontario with my adoptive family and grew up there for about 2-3 years. Then we moved to Vancouver, moved around there for a little bit, and ended up moving to Vancouver Island, where I currently live, and I love it over there. Grew up playing soccer practically my whole life. Played Timbit soccer, favorite place, Tim Hortons, and loved it. Day one, favorite thing.
Yeah. So were there any other sport that you kind of started playing when you were growing up, or was soccer was always like your earliest memories? There was a soccer ball next to me. So what was that like?
Mostly soccer for the most part. Big gymnastics. Anything where I could flip around, roll around, right up my alley. Loved that. Played lacrosse for a little bit until I had to wear a mouth guard. Wouldn't do it.
Just wasn't a good look.
Wasn't a good look. Couldn't do it. Loved volleyball for a long time. Too short to play up front, so I was a libero. And then I played up all the way until middle school. And then once I got to the Whitecaps FC program in Canada, I was no longer allowed to play high school sports, so I picked soccer from there on.
Ah, okay. All right. So it sounds like growing up, your adopted parents or your aunt and uncle, did they recognize like she physically has some skills?
They always, I was just like a super active kid.
Yeah.
I was always running around, jumping around. They could not hold me down. And abnormally jacked. I had biceps. I was like second grade and I had biceps. I'll show you later. But I was just always wanting to move around, and my parents needed to put me in something or they were going to lose their minds. So they put me in Timbit soccer and I loved it.
Wow. So I would imagine you did the whole travel soccer circuit.
Yeah, so growing up in the island, not a whole lot of teams to play there.
Okay.
So
right.
Every weekend we were traveling to the mainland. So we'd leave Friday, play Saturday, come back Saturday night, or have a doubleheader on Sunday. So I was growing up traveling, and then I made Team BC. So I was traveling out to go train in Vancouver twice a week.
Is that like a national team? What is the ATBC? What is that?
Yeah, so that's our provincial team. So kind of like your state team that you have here.
Yeah.
So instead it's our like provincial team. So I made that when I was in the 6th grade. So from the 6th to the 8th grade, I was traveling to Vancouver 3 times a week. So I was really only going to school like 3 times a week.
So is that kind of like a formal like program kind of grooming these kids that we recognize? Well, they got some special talent.
Yeah, so they called it like the soccer pathway, the Canadian pathway. It's a little bit different now. They've definitely like upped everything now, and they have great programs over there now. But when I was there, it was you would play BCSPL, which on my island was Vancouver Island Wave. Then you make Team BC. Then from there, you hope to make Whitecaps FC, and that's what I did. And then from there, you make your national team camps, and then you would go eventually Division 1 was the plan.
Wow. Okay, so since you mentioned Division 1, when did you realize like, I have what it takes to play Div 1?
I think it was right when I got my offer to go to the Whitecaps FC program. I was in the 8th grade, lived on the island, and it wasn't very common for kids to live with a billet or homestay family. You move away from your family, you go to the mainland. So I lived with 5 different homestay families throughout my career. And I was like, wow, I'm moving away from home. I'm getting older. I'm playing for the Whitecaps program. And I played with these amazing players. I don't know if you know Jordan Heinema, Julia Grosso. I had the privilege of playing with them for about a year. And I realized, wow, like if they're here and I'm here, like I might be able to do it. I could totally do it. And from then on, it was more of an expectation for me. It wasn't even like I might be able to do it. I was like, no, I can do this. This is my goal. It's my expectation. This is a goal that I have to meet. So from there on, I was pretty adamant about going D1 and was.
So did you go through the whole process of going through like multiple school camps, to get notice?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about, your senior year, even your junior year
Mm-hmm.
of high school, and trying to make a decision on potentially which school is going to
Mm-hmm.
give you an offer. How many offers did you get? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I had the unfortunate privilege to be in the recruiting process during COVID.
Oh, no.
So definitely a bit of a harder process. Normally you would start your sophomore or junior year,
Mhm.
but because of COVID, you can travel, no coaches could come in. I couldn't go out and do camps. So I relied fully on film. So I filmed all my training sessions, all my games, clipped it together. I made a little YouTube channel,
Wow.
sent it everywhere, and I sent out hundreds of emails. I was an email demon. It was a little aggressive.
Yeah.
So I was really adamant about that. Had phone calls 3 to 4 times a week with coaches, just
Mhm.
keeping updated, because it was really hard to keep in touch with coaches that were, in Texas and Ohio, things like that, when you're all the way West Coast Canada and they can't see you, they kind of forget about you. So you really have to keep up with them and make sure that they don't forget about you,
Okay.
which is the hard bit. But I had the greatest honor of talking with G at Texas A&M, and I got a Division I offer to go play over there my freshman year, and I was really honored.
Did you have other offers?
Yeah, for the most part, I had a few other offers. I was debating to go to Southern Florida, USF, North Texas, where I ended up transferring to.
Mhm,
Was talking to them for a while. One of my other schools, Cal Baptist, was speaking to them. Was talking to Cincinnati for a while as well. Yeah, honestly, that was a long time ago. I was
Wow.
talking to University of Alabama for a little bit, but definitely hard for, when you're in the COVID year, you just you're calling everyone.
Yeah,
I wanted to visit to
yeah.
Notre Dame and Texas A&M, and after my Texas A&M visit, I decided to commit there.
Awesome. That's incredible.
Mhm.
So let's get to the heart of this conversation, because I can't wait to dig in on this part. So as a Div 1 athlete,
Mhm.
right? So talk to us about the current landscape of the NCAA, NIL, and all those pieces. So from your perspective as an athlete,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on it?
Crazy landscape out there. NIL has really opened up the opportunity for student athletes to become more like business professionals. So you're not only, wanting to train your best to play your best, you're also wanting to train and play your best so that you can get paid necessarily, which is a really interesting piece. For women's soccer, obviously it hasn't quite taken up the same level of revenue in NIL as, let's say, like SEC football. SEC football is a different playing field.
It's insane.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
When I was at Texas A&M, those players getting NIL, it was,
Oh, yeah.
we're
talking in the millions now.
Millions.
Yeah.
It's insane. And, they work their tails off, and well deserved. But it's weird now. Like, people are wanting to stay longer in college sports and not go pro because you make more money staying in the college level. So people are taking their 5th years, 6th years. I've met players who have 7th years, and they just want to keep playing college sports because they're making more money than they ever would playing pro.
Exactly. And you know what? And this, I'm going to get into my soapbox a little bit about the NCAA. and my perspective has always been from a fan vantage point. But I thought the model, and the NCAA always kind of hid behind their student athletes. I'm like, okay, maybe 100 years ago when there was no television revenue and all that other stuff. But it always bugged me that they had, prior to the day that we're in now with NILs and athletes having the freedom to move, it was so restrictive for the athlete. Many times they couldn't even transfer. If they did transfer, they would have to sit out a year. But oddly enough, those same restrictions, it wasn't applied to like coaches.
No.
Right. And then you brought up these really big programs, like programs in the SEC. I mean, let's call it what it is. It is professional sports. I mean, that's a type of money that is flowing through the system.
Absolutely.
And for a lot of these college kids, for a long time, they were broke college kids while institutions are bringing in the revenue. I mean, how wonderful it is that to have a professional team and you don't have to pay your players.
It's a crazy concept for sure. I mean, and I guess the first starting idea is, you come here and you get your school paid for, right? Which a blessing. Everyone wants that paid for. It's especially in today's economy, having no student debt after college is crazy. You don't see a lot of people doing that. But then you have, the TV revenue sales now. You have the jersey sales now. You have the commercials and NIL deals. And now you have all these things that are making them professional athletes. And they're no longer really student athletes first. It's like athletes, professionals, and then the students. You know what I mean? Obviously, put your academics first, people. But it's a different landscape, and having the opportunity to transfer at your own free will is a blessing. And I've met players before I got into college that couldn't transfer without losing that year of eligibility. And it was detrimental. Like no one really wants to lose a year of playing time that you travel across the country for and put your whole life's work into, and sitting out a whole year just because your coach changed. You didn't really realize who your coach really was. And you don't really know that in the recruiting process because everything's sugar-coated. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So when you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I was expecting at all. This isn't what I signed up for. You were stuck and you couldn't go anywhere. And that was really hard for a lot of players. And that's why now people are getting, I think, 5th years and 6th years for not being able to have that opportunity to transfer, even if they needed it emotionally, physically, they were in a really bad environment. Now getting that opportunity is huge.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that because I've seen your LinkedIn profile. I've seen the number of schools that you've been to, and you are the prototypical modern day Div 1 athlete who's taken advantage of the fact that it's my freedom, it's my choice to make these moves.
Absolutely.
That's going to benefit me. So 4 schools in 4 years. When I'm watching ESPN, I'm like, so-and-so hit the portal today. So talk to me the process of entering the portal. How do you go about notify your coach? Is that emotional? Is it not emotional? And then landing at that new school. So talk to us about that.
Transfer portal is stressful. I will not sugarcoat it. It's not the funnest thing to go through, especially nowadays when, again, everyone can transfer. So the transfer portal is flooded with athletes. So you get in there, you're kind of just a name and a number. You really have to dig to learn more about yourself in the portal. So that's when emailing comes into play. You got to know coaches. And if you do have a really good connection with your head coach, they can actually help you reach out to other coaches and put in a good recommendation. So that's what I did at A&M. I was really close to my coach, and we came to a mutual understanding that maybe transferring was a better play for me to get more playing time. And he reached out to North Texas. They were really close friends with John there, and I was able to get an offer from there. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without having the connection to my head coach and having the networking abilities through there, which is huge. You don't really have that opportunity if you don't maintain those good connections and good relationships. And going into it 4 times, you do get the question of, hey, why are you back here? We've seen you pop up a few times now, and, you just got to bring up, I'm doing what's best for me, whether that's getting more playing time, getting the academics I need, the better degree, even what's better for me emotionally, and making good connections and good friendships is a huge part of it as well, because, you want to enjoy your college experience. You don't want to be at a school where, oh, wow, I'm not really connecting with the team. I'm not loving the school campus. I don't have a car, so I'm stuck on campus. So if you don't like the campus, you're in your dorm, you're in your apartment. So it's definitely a bit of a hard shock being in the portal, but really, really rewarding if you can pull it off.
Yeah. So when you're going through that process, you're in the portal, and now you're actually deciding, which school is going to work the best for me. So, and you talked about it a little bit already, but what is kind of how do you, and I'm assuming you're ranking certain things, whether it's the academic piece, the current roster of the team, how I'm going to fit in, who the coach is, NIL, the money component. So how are you grading it when you're deciding which school to potentially transfer to?
Right. At the beginning of my career, it was very I want the biggest school, the most money, the biggest name brand. That was what I wanted coming into it. And that's what I got. I got that. And then when I transferred for the second time, I was like, okay, I really want a really good team dynamic. I really want to play. So I want to have a situation where they don't have a lot of goalkeepers. So their
Mhm.
goalkeepers are transferring out. So I have a good chance to come in there and make a difference and make an impact. And then, I transferred again and I was like, okay, now I really want a great academic school. I really want where I could get a great degree I can graduate from and be like, wow, I have this and I can have a great career after this because I have this degree and this experience. As well, on top of how do they train? What's their playing structure like? Are they defense focused? Do they have a goalkeeper coach? And that's something you don't really think about all the
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
especially as a goalkeeper. I definitely prefer having a goalkeeper coach because you get that time, you get that training. And you don't get that everywhere, which is kind of surprising
Yeah.
in Division One. When you get to a team, there's no goalkeeper coach. So you're either getting coached by a player coach or kind of just within yourself. So definitely vital things that you have to rank. So as of right now, for me, it was academics, playing time, team dynamic, and location. I really wanted to be in a city. I was in like random college towns. Like I was in College Station. That was the name of the city. That's where I was. College Station. Then I was in Denton. And then I was in Riverside. And they were kind of smaller towns, not really close to the city. I didn't really get a chance to explore different career opportunities and
Mhm.
network. And I wasn't in a place long enough to make those vital connections.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted. I wanted to place roots. I wanted to be closer to a city and ended up Chicago. And don't regret it one bit. I love it here.
Wow. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're here. So I know part of what attracted you to UIC, obviously the academics, the
Mhm.
city, and there was an NIL component, right? So
Mhm.
name, image, and likeness for our audience. And I know you have an NIL deal, and I
Yeah.
know you are a brand ambassador, right?
Mhm.
So talk to us about being, having an NIL deal and being a brand ambassador. What do you do?
So I've been a brand ambassador for Insomnia Cookies and currently Alani Nu,
Okay.
which is an energy drink and a cookie company. Cookie company was very fun. Had a lot of cookies. But for me, that's taking their content, their brand, their image, and posting videos, making videos, going out to the campus, handing out free samples, going to their locations, and
Talking about it in a podcast.
yeah, talking about it in a podcast. Definitely go get Alani Nu. It's great. And talking about how great their product is, especially if you really enjoy it. Like I love both of the products.
Mhm.
Insomnia Cookies have great cookies, great prices, and Alani Nu is my favorite energy drink. And being able to receive these products and promote them to the best of my abilities has been super fun. And being in a city, in a place, in a team that gives me the opportunity to do that is huge. And recently I've been working with Keeper Culture, which is a glove and goalkeeping brand company. So I've been getting great goalkeeping gloves. Trevor Styles, who's a great man, the best gloves ever. And I've been able to promote them just by training and playing in games and posting content. And it's great. I get all these amazing products and then I get to give them to my teammates.
Wow. So, talking about how, because I know a lot of, like, especially big time schools,
Mhm.
they actually have like general managers now to help the athlete kind of maneuver through
Mhm.
it. So, for you, like you mentioned, like 3 brands now.
Right.
How was that connection made between you and the brand? Did
Right.
UIC help you in that process?
UIC has a portal where you
Okay.
can connect these brand deals from in either Influence or Influx.
hmm
And in there, you can contact brands through that portal and they can contact you. So for me, I found them in that portal and I submitted an application and they accepted me and we connected through there, which has been awesome. And then through Keeper Culture, I actually knew him growing up and he reached out to me because I am a Division One athlete and was able to form that just based on like previous experience and networking. And then I logged that in our influencer portal because I have to declare all of these NIL transactions to make sure it's legal and no funny business is going on. So it's a great way to keep track of everything and making sure that everything is NCAA approved.
No, I find the whole thing fascinating.
It's really interesting.
And also whatever the Div 1 athlete is getting today, just kudos to them. Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is, we were talking about when you got to the studio today,
Mhm.
that you've been working out since 7:00 this morning. That it's a full-time job.
It really
You're
is.
a full-time
Mhm.
student, full-time job, right? And then they wonder, well, why are you broke? Well, because I don't have time to do anything else. I can't even work at the bookstore, right?
Mhm.
So so I'm just absolutely thrilled that the landscape has changed, and to me, it's not even advantage to the athlete. I think they just leveled the playing field. You know that you have this freedom to make these moves. So speaking of the NIL, right? Because I know you when I had you in class, you were in the process of interviewing for internships, and you actually you even asked me, and I was honored that you asked me to kind of review your resume, and I noticed this little thing NIL, and I said Bella, you probably should like really highlight that piece because I'm sure it's going to be a conversation piece. So, and I know subsequently you ended up interviewing with my old company Gallagher. So, talk to us about first of all the process, and did the topic of NIL came up during the interview process?
No, thank you so much for looking at my resume because being able to highlight that, and that was the first thing they talked about, which is amazing. And I kind of looked over it thinking it wasn't that big of a deal, especially because it's been so normalized in the NCAA community that not a lot of students get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And, NIL is name, image, likeness. You are promoting your name, your image, your likeness.
You
brand.
Are selling.
Right? You're selling yourself. And, being in your sales and selling class, I realized how important that was, especially if I wanted to go into a career in sales. So when that interview came up and they asked me like, oh, what is this NIL? Like, how do you do this? How does it work? And being able to explain, I was able to promote myself and sell myself. And this is how I did it. This is what I gained from it. Here's how I contained these like connections and made sure that it was positive and it was safe. And to make sure that we were both mutually benefiting was huge. And any company loves to see that you're able to communicate, build these connections, and to make sure that both sides are profiting. So it was perfect to bring up in an interview, and they ended up really liking it. So.
That's again, it's incredible. I mean that this whole thing has changed so many things. It is huge benefit for the athlete,
right?
And for them to actually be. I mean, you're basically working. I mean, you are, right. So when you're playing soccer, when you're training, you are working. When you're promoting these products, you are working. So I think it's great preparation for when this all ends for you, whenever that happens.
Right.
And then you have, you're going to be in corporate America, and hopefully you hit it out of the park with that internship, and you get a tremendous offer. So let's talk about the women's soccer team. Again, I when you're a professor, you get a notification from the school that, hey, you have an athlete, provide flexibility, and certainly I got wind that you were, and I had to be flexible, and no issues there at all. I mean, you were a great student. And so I always kind of knew, when you had a road trip, when you were going to play, and then I would ask you, and you're like, and I get so excited. I'm like, hey, how'd you guys do? Like, oh man, it was tough. Road trip was tough. And I think for you, as because I remember I was asking you about the end season tournament, for the conference. And like, yeah, we're getting into it. And, and I'm not sure what the expectations are as far as the women's soccer team, but then you guys got hot.
We got really good real fast.
Yeah. So talk to us. I mean, it was really a magical run for you guys. So talk to us about that run, the whole experience. I mean, it had to have been incredible.
It was amazing to be a part of it, especially we made history at UIC. We were the first women's soccer team to win a title, to make it that far, to make it to the NCAA tournament. And being able to be a part of that team in that environment was huge, irreplaceable. Yeah. I wish I had my ring here to show you guys, but it's in the mail. It's coming. But we weren't supposed to make the MVC tournament at all. We had a bit of a rough start. We couldn't really find our formation. We had some problems really making that final play, that third phase that we needed. We needed to score. We needed to finish. We couldn't quite connect on that level. So we ended up playing our last game, and we needed Valpo to win. Okay. Valpo needed to win their last game so that we could make it through. We were playing, you and I, we had to win, and Valpo had to win. And the odds were really low. We're like, gosh, this is it. I don't know if we're going to make it. People are checking the scores on the sideline of the Valpo game. We're getting updates as we're playing.
Yeah.
Valpo pulled it out. We won, and damn, we're in the tournament. We're going. We're getting on a plane next week. We're going. Which was super exciting. I don't think I've seen my team so excited, especially for our senior class, who was this was their last run, and which all of them had been here since their freshman year. So this is their baby. This is what they've built. This is what they've created. This is the team, the culture, and we wanted to do it for them. We needed to do it for them. They wanted to do it for themselves. They've worked so hard, and to be able to come out here and say, we didn't make the tournament there last year. Like, no, it sucks. So being able to give that to them was huge. So when we found out we made the tournament, we went over to, not Indiana State, Illinois State, went over to Illinois State, freezing, cold, snowing, pretty miserable conditions. And again, we weren't supposed to win. We weren't supposed to get that far. We made it all the way to the finals. We're like, gosh, if we made it this far, I mean, what's one more? Why not? Why not us? Yeah. And that was our phrase. Why not us? The time is now. And we really played into that mantra. And we went to PKs, both the semifinal game and the final game. And our goalkeeper, Sarah Sabrina, and Fran Fracci pulled it out completely. And Sarah was an absolute beast in the PKs. If you guys haven't seen it, you should totally pull up the clips. She was insane and made all the saves she needed to save. Our striker scored the goals they needed to score. And we ended up winning our semifinals and our finals on PKs. Unheard of. No one normally does that. And we ended up winning our final game, and it was huge. And then we got the news that we were playing Notre Dame for our first game at NCAA.
You get to face the number one team.
Yeah, they were actually the number one team in the country. And bit of a rough awakening, but we were really excited. This was we made history. First time in UIC history that the women's soccer team has won the MVC tournament. And such a huge accomplishment and a great feeling.
Yeah, no, I still remember because I was watching it on, I think it was ESPN2, and I was like, wow, that's our team. You know, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. You know, and I'm glad you were able to experience it. So I got time for one last question, Bella.
Okay.
So 4 years, 4 schools later, right?
Yep.
And I know, I think I'm free to share this. You have 1 more year of eligibility, and I know you're going to be coming back and pursuing that MBA here. So awesome. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
But looking back, you know, from you were that little girl playing soccer, and then going through the travel soccer program and selecting your college, getting that offer, and then ended up here at UIC. Any regrets along the way?
I sometimes took for granted what I was given and what an amazing opportunity it is to be a Division I athlete. And so I think my freshman and sophomore year, I really overlooked what a great experience this was and got really locked in on, gosh, like I need to play better. I need to perform better. I need to do this better. I need to be better. When I really could have just taken the time to enjoy the experience that I had and the opportunity I was given and realize how blessed I was to be in this situation, opportunity, and that I wouldn't be able to be here without my parents, my support. I've had a great life, a great experience with my family. I wouldn't be able to be here without my family. They supported me through everything. I haven't had to pay for anything. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And, I wouldn't be able to be here without them. And I think it's something you look over a lot, looking back and looking at the people that have really pushed you up to where you are now. So I think if I were to say anything to younger me is to, take advantage of the place you're in now. Don't take it for granted and make sure to look behind you at the people who pushed you up. So,
wow. Yeah. That was so beautifully said. Bella, thank you so much for being here today. And really what you said there at the end is why we have this podcast, Map Left Behind, because it is about taking the time to share your life experiences and giving it back to that person that is following you. So I appreciate this tremendously. I know our audience is going to learn a lot from it because every fall when I'm teaching here at UIC, I always get a Div 1 athlete and I always give them a little extra point just because I know they're doing 2 full-time gigs, right? But to hear Bella's story today about what it is like to be that, modern Div 1 athlete, and I'll use the term. It was a famous book back in the 80s called "Free to Choose." Milton Friedman, famous economist, wrote that book. And basically, it is that freedom to move around, and that's exactly what's happening today. And the modern athlete is taking advantage of it. Bella took advantage of it. She shared her story with us today, and I know there's going to be other athletes in my class in the future who get to see this. And I'm like, wow, that's that's the way to go
Mm.
and way to represent Bella.
Thank you so much.
Until next time, what map are you leaving behind?